on the first day. Second day, we have learned how human behavior, or we can say that how psychology exactly can be related to psychology of a person can be related to crime and criminals or offenders, right? Today we'll start with a very much known topic. I guess forensic science student might be know. They might have studied also. It is on the tools that are used in forensics lab in forensic psychology department. So it's today we'll start about polygraph, the lie detector. Yes. Okay. How many of you people have studied about polygraph in your class? Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. That's really nice. So theoretically, polygraph is what we learn is very much like when we learn in class or when we are learning in studies. It is so much different in life. Like when I was working in FSL and I was not able to exactly put my 100% theories or apply it in like in life. So I guess everyone might get some new information in this PPT. Yes. So I'll start. Okay. So how many of you guys have seen the drama, like Kardashians drama? They mostly have played like lie detector test, who is lying, who is not. The Bollywood, I would say the Hollywood drama. Sorry, not Bollywood, but the Hollywood drama. Sometimes Ariana Grande takes a lie detector test. Sometimes this Kylie takes the lie detector test. Yes. Do you guys think they on the spot, like we are an expert here, we are studying, we are kicking our butts for like 2 years 3 years, and they are just casually telling yes or no? Yes, as if they get to know just by sitting on the polygraph that the person is lying or not. Right. Okay. So after seeing after seeing so many of videos on YouTube, I am like this guy. Oh bhai, maro mujhe maro. Yes, I guess everyone would be like me, like everyone would be able to relate with me that this I we are this guy that oh bhai maro mujhe, अब क्या ही कर सकते हैं. Okay. Yes. So this is a polygraph. Okay. This is the representation of polygraph. How we a person the person who is sitting in the chair has rods which are been attached to their chest, their stomach, and there are some electrodes which are attached to their fingers, and there is a BP machine which is attached to the arm. Okay. Also, the position of sitting is not which the girl with I mean girl with the open hair, the colorful picture which is visible. Actually, a girl should, and not anyone, like never suspect is allowed to sit this way. But the black and white photo, as you can see, that's the correct position. That how a suspect means the examiner will tell the suspect to sit. Okay. You have you have a comfortable chair, the suspect has a comfortable chair, uh, but he or she cannot move very rapidly or even cannot make a move, because we'll understand in further slides. Okay. So I guess everyone got a view that what exactly polygraph is. Yes. Also, polygraph can be like on a PC. The graph we can see on the PC as well as a laptop. So anything can work. Okay. So polygraph as a tool, as an instrument, what exactly it measures? So it measures the heart rate, okay, the blood pressure, the respiration, the two codes, the electrodes I told, the chest and the stomach, they both are for respiration. And the electrodes which were on the fingertips, they were for the skin conductivity. Okay. Yes. So here we start that uh, polygraph was invented recently in 90s, right? But before that, people used to, uh, while they were interrogating the suspects, they used to have many different techniques. It was very old, but then there were very different techniques in China, uh, you can say in different parts of the world. So here in ancient time, they used to measure the physiological changes. Like they used to observe the physiological changes. For now, we know that if a person is anxious, okay, I'm not telling the person is lying, I'm telling the person is anxious or under stress, the person releases saliva. He or she salivates more. He or she sweats more. He or she has a high, you can say, not high, but then a level of BP, you can say blood pressure would be a little bit higher than the normal ones. Like if as if they have already ran a marathon, or already uh, were they came from something very exhausting climate. So that type of physiological changes will be there when the person is in anxiety. Sorry, would not anxiety. The person would be in anxious state or a stressful state. So here, China people in ancient time didn't know exactly, but if we say that it was not so इतना lenient, इतना मतलब साइंटिफिकली हम लोग ने रिसर्च नहीं किया था. We haven't done so scientific research. Still people used to know that when a person is lying, what will be the physiological changes. So there were many techniques such as, in China, as you can see here in the PPT itself, the slide itself, that they used to give dry rice. Okay, if the person was caught on the spot, the suspect, and if the suspect is, you can say, he or she did something wrong, they will salivate more, so the dry rice will become wet. So this was not exactly correct, accurate, but yes, at least some, kahi na kahi we can tell that it was little bit logical. Yes, same, there was one more technique, I guess in China, same, that they used to give an ostrich egg in the hand of suspects. If the egg broke, then the suspect did the crime. Okay, why? Because the hands might be shivering, right? If the suspect is under stress due to some, if like, because if they have did something wrong, they are under stress, and ostrich egg were big, but at the same time they were very fragile. So it happened that there were techniques such as rice, keeping dry rice in the mouth, keeping the eggs in their hands. Yes. Okay. So here I would like to tell a story which I have heard as a folk tale from, I guess, Tenali Rama or Akbar Birbal. I don't know exactly. But this is also an deception technique. Okay. So what happened that there was a thief in the village, and there a robbery happened. There was only one thief, and the robbery happened, and the suspects were caught. Now the king told, either Birbal or either Tenali Rama, I don't know exactly which person, but they told that now, find out who is the criminal. Okay, so there were 5 to 6 suspects. Okay, so what exactly the Birbal did, that okay, he told king that he will find who is the who did the crime. Yes, okay, it's Tanali Raman. Okay, 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 okay. So he uh, he actually went in. He went to a room. He kept a donkey, and he he told the people. Sorry, he told that those anyone anyone who did they sorry people, he was told by the people, I guess. Someone wrote Thenali Rama. Do you know the story? Yes, Nandita. Yes, sorry. Okay, yes, Shrivali, you know the story. It would be really nice if you like, we have an interactive session and you can also tell the story if you know the story, please. Yes, anyone? Okay, sorry. Okay, so I'll continue the story. Okay, so there was a room and a donkey was kept. So a word spread that Tenali Rama told that if the person who didn't do the crime, like uh, it was not directly from the words of Tenali Raman, but the word spread that if the person haven't did the crime, then he would hold the donkey state. Okay, he would be able to hold the donkey state. So everyone went inside. Every suspect went inside, and then everyone came out. Okay, few the people from there were many suspects, so there was only one suspect with a black color on his hand. So what happened exactly, that the donkey's tail was been colored. Okay, I'm sorry, if I'm not telling the right story, please do guide me, but uh, I have heard this way. So this was this kind of a technique where the lie detector was tested, like this kind of chatura, you can say. Tenali Raman or Akbar did such, we can hear such stories about lie detection. Okay, okay, I'll go further. Yes. So we can see history once more, that Larson was the person who created or who developed or invented the modern polygraph. As we see, not as we see right now, but it was a version, you can say a lesser version, which did not had galvanic skin response. Okay. So minus the galvanic skin response was the modern polygraph invented by Larson. So it measured blood pressure, pulse, and respiration, and it was known as cardio pneumo Okay, so afterwards, in 19, 1930s, Larson's student itself, his disciple, he added the galvanic skin response. Okay, the sweat gland response. So it helped establish the first polygraph as we see right now. Not exactly the same, because the needles, the polygraph graph was not made on PC, or you can say on a digital a digital compass. Okay, then Keller in 1938, it became industrially standard tool and instrument, and then uh, in 50s and 70s, the polygraph started developing much more properly. Okay, okay. So it was like 50s, as we know that 50s 70s was after war era, like after war, when everything was settling down. That time, uh, the law enforcements, the private sectors, the government started adopting this tool and instrument. But there was still a question that if the polygraph can be used in scientifically or not. Okay, so it can be reliable or it cannot be reliable. Yes, so question arose in 50s and 70s. So like today, in agencies like FBI, CIA, they still use like interrogation plus polygraph. It is not wholly dependent on polygraph. So if we see nowadays, in just not in India, like India we use in FSS, but if we see big organizations like FBI and CIA, they actually don't use polygraph as the like primary tool, but they use as a secondary tool, or while interrogation, or while no, when we on the first phase of when we have to get the information out of the suspect. So in the first phase they use, but in India here we actually use way after it, because first phase is with police and the lawyers, right? That time polygraph is not being used, like while interrogation. It is used when the court gives a permission to FSLs. Okay, okay. In as we can see that there is a history like 80s, in 90s, how the development and the acceptance of polygraph, and how it can be included in evidences. It was never a primary evidence. It was never included as a primary evidence till now. It is included as a secondary evidence only. Okay, as I told that like in modern era, FBI, CIA, they don't use directly, but for just a screening purpose, and for the first phase interrogation they use. Okay, we will discuss that why they don't exactly use. Okay, so the takeaway is the polygraph has evolved from crude physiological test to a complex, controversial tool, still widely used but not universally trusted. We can see why now. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so what are exactly the components so called that cardio there is the instrument that measures blood pressure and heart rate. It's cardiosphygmogram, and then it is the chest and the abdomen electrode, which I told is pneumograph, and the fingertips, which senses the sweat glands. Okay, in fingertips the sweat glands are more prominent. If we see or we observe ourselves while we in day to day life, we can see that our palms will be more sweatier than are the upper skin. Yes, also the fingertips will be more sweatier, or it is very sensitive to this, you can say, temperature or your physiological response. So the fingertips have more sweat glands, so it has been chose for like galvanic response, your sweat response. Okay, all three of this are recorded simultaneously. Like there is nothing like first they will measure blood or the abdomen's respiration, but three of the graph are being shown simultaneously when the questioning happens. So exactly how does a polygraph work? Okay, so the suspect, first of all, if I say the procedure in the FSL, the suspect is been called, the consent is been taken. First of all, they are being interviewed. Let me repeat, this is very important. Okay, they are being interviewed, and while they are telling the story of incident, what exactly happened. Okay, suspects are those who have, you can say, those who are present. So according to them, if there are two or three suspects, individually the interviews are taken, the story has been noted in a paper by a forensic psychologist, as well as they are being told to write their story. Then, after interview, when we have heard the story, when we have listened it carefully, and we have noted down everything, after that, the noted part, written part, has been compared. The story which is written by the suspect, as well as the story which we heard and we wrote, are being compared, and the questions are formed accordingly. So there are three types of questions that are being asked in any basic, you can say, any basic technique. There are different techniques to ask question on a polygraph, but here there are types of questions, such as there are neutral questions like baseline questions. What is your name? Okay, that is a baseline question. Then there is relevant questions, which is linked to crime, such as where were you when this thing happened? No, sorry, not where were you. Were you present when this thing happened? Because polygraph there are only yes and no. I'm sorry, I told what is your name. I'm sorry, I just confused with SDS and LVA. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, neutral questions are like, is your name this? So the person will tell yes or no. Then the relevant question is, uh, if the person is asked that were you present at the scene? Yes or no. Then the control question is emotionally charged, but it is very much unrelated, such as, have you ever did this thing? Like if there is a let's say, if the if the person is lying, okay, in the interview we can tell out that the person is lying. Okay, so we'll ask a control question that, have you ever lied in your life? Yes or no. Okay, so which will generate a stress on the person, that right now he is lying, and technically he will think that, no, I haven't lied. He would answer no, that I haven't lied, or yes, the physiological changes can be seen because of the control question. So the control question are which are related, such as do you, if someone is drinking and driving, okay, so do you drink and drive? Okay, that is a that can be that sorry, have you ever drink and drive? That can be a controlled question as well as relevant question, but we are not asking directly to the scene that have you did on this date. Okay, so control questions are somewhat generalized questions which are being asked to the suspects. Okay, so what is the phenomena that happens, that the person will won't be able to lie on the neutral questions or control questions, but when they are relevant questions, the person will lie. There will be an emotional arousal, there would be a flight and flight response. Okay, as per the physiological changes we can tell. Then the graph will show a kind of pattern. Okay, so what exactly happens that when a person lies, his or her heart rate will increase, heartbeat, heart rate will increase. So the graph will show the changes. Also, there will be sweat, like when we are stressed, we are anxious, we obviously get stressed. Okay, so while they are lying, the emotional arousal will cause sweating. There will be a shallow breathing. For example, when we are normally breathing, we breathe from lungs. Okay, but when we are in a stressful environment, or when we are in an environment when we need a more air, we breathe from our stomach. Okay, yes. uh, am I audible, right, guys? Okay, okay. So till now, what we have gained the information is that polygraph detects not lie. Okay, polygraph doesn't detect lie, it detects the emotional arousal or the physiological changes. Do you get my point, guys? Yes, that polygraph doesn't detect lie, it detects physiological changes. This is why it's not yeah, I'll tell that also, Sneha, why exactly it is not admissible in court. Okay, but polygraph is a really best tool if you know how to use it, because the only polygraph is the tool we can get detailed information from. Okay, so there are techniques, there are uh, tests, like we ask question, that is true, we obviously ask question, but there are types of tests depending on the crime, or we can say what information we have or what information we have gathered. For example, there is control question test. Okay, which compares, like control question test is done to have a baseline of a person's physiological responses to lie. Okay, so what exactly happens that there is also a stimulation test. Okay, so which is similar to CQT, which is called control question test as well. So simulation test is a test where you have to, where the suspect have to forcefully lie. For example, the suspect is given 1 to 5 numbers. He or she have to select numbers and don't have to show to the examiner, and keep it under his or her arm, or keep it to themselves. Okay, then the questioner, the interviewer, or the person will ask, "Do you have number one?" He or she, the suspect, have to lie. Okay, he doesn't have. Even if the number he has matches the number, still the person have to lie. The suspect have to lie. So we can know that what are his or her physiological changes happening in the graph while they lie. So we can relate it afterwards when we are asking the relevant questions. Okay. Do you get the point? Yes, guys? Okay. Okay. Now there is guilty knowledge test, which is, yes, okay, I'll repeat once. Okay. There is a stimulation test conducted in FSL, but it is also we can call control question test. So what happens that the suspect is given five numbers in a chit. Okay, in a chit, one number chit, two number chit, three number chit, four number chit, and five number chit. Okay, the suspect selects one of the number. Let's say suspect have selected number three, but the interviewer won't know the number. Then the suspect is told to lie purposefully, even if he or she has the number. When the question is asked on the polygraph, he or she has to lie. So what happens on the polygraph while the suspect is lying? Let's say the question is asked: Do you have one? He will tell no. Do you have two? He or she will tell no. Do you have three? Suspect, even if he or she is having, he have to tell no. So when he tells no, it is a lie. So what exactly emotional arousal causes the physiological changes? Let's say if a person's physiological changes are heart rate increase, not sweat glands, then we will know the patterns of the graph. Exactly, a person, the suspect, they have every suspect has a different physiological responses. So we will get to know that what is the response of this suspect. Okay, by doing a control question test. Okay, understood now? Yes, Nandita? Okay, thank you. Okay, next we can move further to guilty knowledge test. Okay, this is a very well-known test. We can say very बहुत बहुत ही skillfully इसको we have to do it very skillfully, but at the same time it is very detectable test. Okay, but the problem here happens in India, as per India, that when uh, when the suspect is bought, every investigation is already done. Sometimes the media as well as the suspect knows what actually happened. Okay, like if I say we don't know, there are five suspects, but we don't know who exactly was the offender. So the suspects also know some kind of information which happened already on the crime scene. Okay, so here we are not able to conduct guilty knowledge test. Why? Because guilty knowledge test is done on suspects to find the offender by asking the question which only an offender would know. Let's say what color of knife they have used, what kind of knife they have used. Okay, so what यहाँ पे क्या होता है, what happens in India that the information is well spread through, so we won't be able to know every suspect would be exactly knowing that which kind of knife or which color of knife they have used. So this test is not so much uh, like reliable in this setting. But if we got a crime which we know we found as a forensics lab, like forensics department, let's say we were the first one who get to know everything, the suspects were bought, the suspect didn't knew, मतलब police, we can get to know by the police that some informations are not being shared which are very which are not revealed to the suspects or anyone in the media, either no one in the police department but the police who was investigating, then we can apply this test. Okay, yes. Do you get my point, guys? Yes, guilty knowledge test. Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, okay. Direct lie test is similar to stimulation test. Okay, or we can say that even if we this is not so prominent in FSLs or even in secondary. Okay, when the suspect is brought afterwards, this test is not so reliable. This test is only reliable when like FBI or like you can say police in out of state, when they are doing an investigation, first interrogation, first interview. That time, whatever question has been asked, they are straight away told to lie, to deny everything. There would be a set of questions which they have to deny everything they have to deny. That time we can point out exactly there will be questions uh, which are a lie. Let's say control question will be there, which can be lie. That is your name Ganesh, even if the person's name is not there. So there will be control question. There would be neutral question. There will be relevant questions. So only relevant questions would be something that you won't the offender would not be able to lie, because the offender have did that. Baki every question will be a lie. Okay, do you understand that? What I'm saying? Can you understand that? Yes, guys. Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move further. Okay, so we'll see the limitations of polygraph. Okay, for example, if I say there is a murder happened of a girl and the suspect was his father. Okay, so now there were many suspects. Okay, we can, for example, we can take, but one of the suspect was his father, for her father. So what happened when if we put the father on polygraph, still the polygraph won't be able to show exact results. Can anyone tell me why? If even if the father is not an offender, okay, still the polygraph will not show right results. Like it won't show. It will show physiological changes. It will show physiological changes even though father haven't did the offense. Yes. Can anyone
Ma'am,
tell
yeah.
me? Yes, yes, please.
Ma'am, because when a person is being asked about basically a relative or any family member, then ma'am, emotions are involved.
Yes,
And ma'am,
right.
and emotions can trigger physical like changes or maybe like mental changes which can trigger the polygraphy emotion.
Yes, yes, exactly right. If I say precisely, yes, the people who have wrote in the chat box, yes, definitely. Uh, okay, one, yes. I'm sorry. Okay, uh, it is not because the person, the suspect, is scared, but what exactly happens that when the relative is if I say uh, the father was like close to the daughter, the father somewhere or the other might feel himself guilty that even if father is there, even if mother is there, or even if brother is there, the people around us, the people of the victim, the relative of victim, mostly who are emotionally attached, they might feel themselves as a guilty that I went out, that's why my daughter is not alive today. I did this, or I was not listening to my daughter, that's why this happened to my daughter. So they themselves will feel guilty about the things, which will make the physiological changes more same, or we can say similar to offenders. Okay. Yes. uh, just a second, I'm reading the chat box. Yes, getting scared is a normal human behavior. Yes, it is true, but the point is that the person, the offender who did the crime is just not only scared, but when they lie, there are different physiological. See, scare, you can tell that heartbeat will increase. Okay, your heartbeat might increase. At the same time, maybe you will sweat, but it is not sure that scare can cause you three of the changes at the same time simultaneously. Okay, so here we will see the pattern. As I told that control questions, if someone is scared and we are asking, first of all, in FSL when they are bored, we give them water, we make them feel calm and everything, so mostly they are not scared. But even if after that also, even if they are little bit scared, we ask them the control question. As a forensic psychologist, we ask them control questions which eventually calm them down. Okay, if the person, the suspect have, sorry, suspects haven't done the offend, then the person at some extent might calm down with the controlled question. That's why we ask control questions or simulation tests beforehand. Yes, so it is very much true that the person, the suspect take might be able to take medicines which can trigger physiological changes. But here what exactly happens that beforehand, like before polygraph test, 2 to 3 days they are kept, or they are under observation of a police, which is which is मतलब वो हम देखते हैं as a forensic psychologist, as a forensics lab expert, that the polygraph is not done on the same day as the suspect is brought. It is done within 2 to 3 days. At the time, at that slot of the time, the person is under observation by the police, and the police has been guided that see to it they eat properly, they don't take medicines, or they don't hurt themselves. Okay, this is been seen. Also, medical examination is been conducted beforehand. Not exactly we can say BP, but like normal medical examination, let's say, not like something intrusive, blood samples or anything, but yes, physical examination such as the person is not hurt in his fingers or legs or anywhere else. The hurt might not cause physiological changes in the like it won't hinder the polygraph, right? So it has been checked before the suspect को जब बिठाया जाता है चेयर पे, पॉलीग्राफ की चेयर पे. तो दिस आर सम कंसिडरेशन which are been taken take place, which are protocols that we follow. Okay, so which kind of people we are, we don't exactly allow, or we can never make them do the polygraph test, are people who are children, who are mentally ill, or people who are already let's say, even if they are taking drugs, but if they are clean for even 3 weeks, sorry, 3 days, 5 days, still we are not able to consider them as the uh, fit for polygraph, because withdrawal symptoms might affect the physiological changes on the polygraph. Okay, also there are countermeasures which we examiner takes, the interviewer takes, that the person is not biting his or her tongue, or person is not wearing any shoe, where the shoes are like are not being allowed to wear inside the polygraph room, not even a socks, let's say not even any needle or any kind of disrupting instrument is not allowed in the polygraph by suspect. It has been checked thoroughly. Okay, we also observe as an interviewer, we also observe that they are not sneezing, they are not coughing, they don't have cough, they don't have cold, they don't they don't move so rapidly, or let's say they are not pressing any of their body parts such as legs, fingers of their legs, because this can change the physiological responses on the polygraph. Okay, yes. Is it clear now that what is not allowed? Yes. Okay. So while in India, it is very much important that the consent is given by the suspect, even if it's polygraph, even if it's HDS, even if it's layered voice analysis, or any kind of instrument, like any kind of lie detector test, you say, the consent is at most important. And we also ask them that are you giving the consent? Do you want to give consent? It is okay if you don't want to give consent. The statement is told like that. Okay, we tell them, we make them aware about the that they have the consent. Like let's say the suspect is not very much uh, knowledgeable, or he or she is uh, not well educated, then we make them aware about the law, that even if you want to back out at any moment, you can back out. Okay, yes. Do you get my point? Yes, guys, yes. Please can you give me thumbs up if you are able to hear me, or if you are able to get what I'm saying? Yes. Okay. Okay. So let's discuss one or two cases where the procedure, or let's say the protocols were not exactly followed. So when the government or law enforcement or forensics doesn't follow proper protocols or proper polygraph, you can say proper procedures on polygraph, what happens? So there was this case of John Bennett Ramsey, where the parents were the like the suspects, they were accused, sorry, not accused, I'm sorry, they were suspects. So when the polygraph test was done by the government, it was inconclusive. Like there was not any yes or not only no that they were lying or they were not lying. But when the parents themselves uh, did the polygraph test from a private company, let's say, it is not allowed in India, but it is allowed in uh, out out of India. So when they did the polygraph test, they actually passed in the sense they were innocent. Okay, so when we conduct a polygraph test, it is at most important that the person, the people who are conducting it should follow the protocols or the procedures end to end. Otherwise, what happens that some cases or sometimes innocent people might get caught or they might be falsely accused and maybe sent to jails even. Okay, so here when this kind of things happen, the scientific credibility is being questioned. That it is even reliable or it is properly, we can say, can we use polygraph as a uh, tool for as an evidence? So there are many cases that happen because of that polygraph is still in question, that whether it should be admissible in court or not. Okay. Yes. Next, we can take the example of Arushi Talwar. I hope everyone have seen or heard Arushi Talwar case, right? Yes, yes, everyone have heard. So there was so much chaos while the case was going on. The narco was done, but it was publicly revealed. Then polygraph was done. Multiple tests were done on polygraph. Yes, the Arushi Talwar case came in FSL Gandhinagar itself. Uh, so I even got to ask not the results, what exactly happened, but I got the chance to ask that what exactly went wrong and what exactly happened. So there was so much chaos due to media. There was pressure which was happening in the media, like government itself, the superiors itself were pressuring the officers. So because they were having a short amount of time, like not even a whole week, so they were not able to calm their parents down. Let's say the polygraph tests were conducted properly, but at the same time they needed a calm environment which was not there because it was a media case, it was a high, you can say, high profile case, right? So this thing happened that every time the suspects were brought into the FSLs, there were media surrounding uh, where they are going, where they are staying. So this also can indirectly happen the polygraph. Sorry, this can hinder the polygraph results as well. Okay. Yes. Even in the case of this Singh, sorry, Mahendra Singh, it was he didn't give the consent for the polygraph, as we can know by, if you read the case, you can know that the consent was not given, so the polygraph test was not been conducted. Even if the after conducting polygraph test, even if, after even the person want to back out, still they have the right to back out. Okay, it is by the article 23, which is like self incrimination, like a person has the right to prove himself not criminal. Yes, so this was the case where the landmark was like it was marked that the lie detector in India should have ethical boundaries, like consent should be there. Okay. Yes. Okay. uh, I would I would really like to discuss furthermore. I haven't put in the information in the PPT because I guess this might not be little थोड़ा ऐसे क्या मतलब FSLs में actually what happens that some things are not revealed because of confidentiality. So I would like to explain it as such that how exactly polygraph is been the polygraph results are being detected. Okay, so there How many people here know that there are graphs, three kind of graphs they have seen in polygraph? What patterns they show? Yes, anyone have seen the polygraph, the graph part? Yes. Okay. So what exactly happens that physiological responses of every person is different, first of all. So when there are controlled tests, we know the physiological responses of that particular person, right? Okay, do you agree, guys? I told this. Yes. Okay. So they there are two graphs, a whole graph of controlled question and a the relevant questions, the techniques, as you can see, the guilty knowledge techniques. Okay, so there are two graphs, then they are being compared. Let's say if the person is giving a physiological response after asking the question in a control test, then we will look at the same part of the graph in the relevant questions. Let's say tells that the person is giving a physiological response of an arc, an arc in respiration, in heartbeat, as well as the galvanic response. Then the exact pattern we will look for in the relevant graph. If it matches, then we know that the person is lying. You get the point? Yes. I can explain it again, but please can you tell me if you got the point? If you haven't got the point, if you got the point, please. Okay. Tan- Tanisha, right? Tanisha. Yes. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you want me to explain it again? Also, are you okay with Hindi? ओके, ठीक है, चलो। अभी क्या होता है कि कंट्रोल टेस्ट, ओके, नंदिता, नंदिता, okay, I'll explain it in English. Okay, wait, let me explain it in English. Give me a second. Okay, okay. Can you see the PPT, right? Yes. Okay. Let's say कंट्रोल कंट्रोल टेस्ट में कंट्रोल टेस्ट लिया है, उसमें कंट्रोल टेस्ट में क्या व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैपेंस इन अ कंट्रोल टेस्ट दैट द सस्पेक्ट is been observed that what are their exact physiological responses. If the person in control test is lying purposefully, okay, if the person has number 1, number 2, number 3, as I said previously. So if the graph goes like this, yes, you can see, right? If the graph goes like this in the control test where the person, the suspect is purposefully lying, then we will look out for the same pattern. You can see the triangle, right? Half triangle. Yes. Okay. Not we can see the similar. We will try to see similar kind of pattern in guilty knowledge test or the test which are where the relevant questions are being asked. So let's say relevant question also shows same kind of response. Same. Then we will get to a conclusion that the person is lying. Now you understand? I can repeat it again as well. Anyone? Please can you write in the chat box if you haven't understood, then I can write it. I can explain it again. Okay, just a second. Okay. Nandita, now can you hear me? Yes, I'll repeat. I'll repeat once again. Okay. Just give me a second. Go.
Ma'am, you're muted.
Yes, yes. I was just drawing the graph. Then I'll explain. Okay. Yes. Can you hear me now? Yes. Please, can you give me thumbs up? Okay. So there are control question test graph. Okay. The first three triangles, half triangles which are made are of blood pressure, respiration, and galvanic response. Okay. First three I've made under CQT, which is control question test. Okay. These are graphs which are being shown by the suspect when they have lied in control question test. Okay. If they show same pattern which I have drawn in relevant question, first one in red one. If see, you can see similar patterns, right? It is not exact triangle, but you can see similar patterns. If CQT, they are lying and the pattern is this kind of triangles, half triangles, and in relevant questions such as have you murdered the person? So as these are the relevant questions that have you murdered this person? So when they are asked, they are showing the same pattern, then they are lying. But as you can see in blue, I have shown if the suspect is not an offender, they will not show the line. Can you understand this? Can you give me a thumbs up if you understand this much? Yes. If you haven't understood, can you at least write? Okay. So exactly, I am here. We are comparing the control question test where a normal person lies. They will show. Obviously, they will show a triangle. Okay. Even if the offender lies, they will show a triangle. But the pattern, when the pattern appears after asking the question, before asking the question, that is the relevant thing we have to look out for. That is the physiological pattern which is unique to every suspect, you can say. Not suspect, offender, or every person. Even if you or me, we would be having different physiological responses. For example, if I sit and I lie, maybe after answering yes or no, I would be showing any physiological responses, such as if let's say I am asking Kanishk that Kanishk is on a polygraph and I am asking him, uh, your name is your name Ganesh? He have to purposefully lie to me, yes. So he will tell me yes, but what exactly graph will show, it will show in every seconds. Okay, so when if the question is asked, the if Kanish shows that before asking the question he is showing physiological changes before exactly asking the question about, let's say, I'm sorry, if I give Kanish that you have you Kanish has number 3, and I'll while coming to the number 3, before he knows, I'll be asking this question that, uh, do you have number 3? And if he's having number 3, his physiological response might be shown before the question. Maybe my will show after the question. Okay. Do you understand what I'm trying to convey here? Yes, guys. Okay. Okay. One more point, important point I might have missed, that whatever question which are asked on the polygraph test are being shown to the suspect. It is not something they will hide or directly ask them. They are given to be read, like the interviewer, the officer will give the person a page where every questions are written, and their suspects read the questions. So there is nothing like any confidentiality that suddenly they will ask the question and they will show the response, physiological responses. Okay, this is also one procedure of the, or protocol you can say, of the polygraph.